Welcome to the Advance Your Art podcast, where we talk about the journey from artist to entrepreneur and everything in between. You've worked hard to hone your craft. Now take it to the next level with tips, techniques, strategies, and routines used by successful artists to grow their businesses and careers. Now, let's get started and have some fun with your host, Yuri Cataldo.
Jenna, Rachel, welcome to the show. How are you both doing this evening?
Hi.
We are great. How are you doing?
Thank you for having us.
Of course, I'm doing well. Again, this is, as I kind of mentioned it to you both, this is the first time I've interviewed more than one person simultaneously, so this is going to be quite the treat.
Oh, we are excited.
Yeah. We speak in unison a lot, if that makes your life a lot easier.
Perfect, and that will just, it'll be like the answer in surround sound. I think that'll be great. Great. Awesome. So, let's start this off by asking each of you to describe yourself and what you do.
Sure.
Well, okay, I'll start.
Wait, and that's sorry. Also, yeah, introduce yourself because I actually don't know which one is which.
Hi. Well, this is Rachel. The best way to describe me as, I don't know, I guess I would say I'm very, very quirky, very honest. I guess at times I'm a little bit intense, but in a good way. And I'm very passionate. I guess that's where the intensity comes from, between writing, being a mom, and just wanting to help other people. So as this journey kind of keeps traveling right now for me, it's really fun to see where it leads and how it can kind of spark that creativity along the way.
Okay.
So Rachel's obviously the modest one. My name's Jenna. So on what we do is we run a business for writers, helping writers along their writing journey, especially new people who are trying to write a book and honestly feel like it's too impossible to do it or there's no way to see it through. We're kind of there holding their hand, helping them through that process. Me personally, I'm the more determined, I guess I would say, one under the group. I kind of make Rachel jump into things, and she's like, maybe we should put on the brakes. I'm like, nope, we're going head first. Career-wise, we're both writers. We both published our own chapbooks and have a series of work we've done together and apart, fiction mainly. And also, me personally, I've done a lot of book publicity. I've worked for presses such as Penguin Random House, Running Wild Press, Running Press. So my PR side comes out on the book end.
I really, it's Rachel again. I really like the relationship building side of things. So Jenna frequently finds some fun thing for us to do, and she says, "Here you go. You got to go talk to people." And I'm like, "Thank you for that," because I both love talking to people, but I think as writers or artists, sometimes we all experience that, being both introverted and extroverted. So it's kind of fun and interesting to see how we actually interact with other people versus what we think we are like and what other people tell us we're like according to them.
Yes.
Great. All right. So how long have you two known each other?
Well, that's a fun story. So it's been 4 years. We started working together over 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. Jenna was still in school, so we both kind of bonded initially over the whole writing and motherhood thing. And Jenna was like really kind of had herself exposed out there with everything she was doing. And I was telling her about my novel I'd been working on for a long time. And I think about 6 to 8 months into our friendship, she comes up to me and she goes, "You know what we should do?" And I was like, "No, but you're going to tell me." She's like, "Yeah, let's do a blog." And I'm like, I have no idea how the hell to do a blog. She goes, "It's okay. I got this. Let's just do it." And I was like, okay. So it kind of just spiraled from there. And so the last 4 years has not only been a journey as far as writing and our friendship, it's been a business, and we've gone through it's a lot. It's a partnership, it's a business, it's a friendship, so it's a relationship on its own. Like it's kind of like a marriage with, like
out the perks.
Yeah.
Definitely. Excellent. Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit. So I know you're both are proficient writers, but what did you study in college, and what made you want to get into writing?
Okay. I'll go first. I studied journalism in college because it was the closest thing to writing I could think of. But I knew before going into college that I wanted to be a writer and get published. But the other side of me was also get a degree to kind of further do that. And so I studied journalism, and I hated every moment of it. That's actually how I found my love for PR, through going through school and getting the internships in the publishing industry. That kind of led me down that path.
As for me, I actually never finished school. I've recently gone back, and I'm trying to finish now. When I met Jenna, I was kind of at a it was one of those trying points in my life. I was at a very writing was the thing that was actually getting me through. So I danced when I was younger. I liked anything artistic. So I always knew I liked it, but I didn't really discover the passion for it until it helped me get through something very, very difficult in my life. And then meeting Jenna was like, hey, you should really put yourself out there, and you should really do this. And I was like, okay, you're just going to completely put me out of my comfort zone. And that's exactly what's been happening. And I'm very, very grateful for that, because the journey's been amazing. I've learned so much in the last 4 years and met so many people along the way.
I think the best part is, as confusing and as lost as life can be at times, writing has been the only thing that seems right.
Yes.
In both of the things that we faced, and that's kind of comes out in our business and how we try to help others.
Comes out in our writing too.
Yeah, that's true.
Sure. So could you talk then a little bit about what your writing style is and what you focus on on your novels and other things that you work on?
Yeah. So this is fun because me and Rachael are two completely different writers.
Yeah.
Rachael likes to joke that I'm a darker writer. I like the psychological thrillers. My novel I completed is about human trafficking and a girl whose boyfriend sells her into the human trafficking ring and her survival through that. And that is my completed manuscript. I've also done a couple short stories that one was a historical fiction that has a dark twist at the end. And my next novel I'm working on now is about a girl who loses her boyfriend to an overdose. And she is trying to cope with this and finds herself turning to drugs by meeting this boy named Jake. But plot twist at the end, Jake's not real. And you think through this whole novel that he's this guy who got her into this, but really it was just a figment of her imagination. And so I like to deal with like the darker topics that people try to shy away from and shed light on. And Rachael is completely different, and I love her writing. She can tell you about her.
I love anything fantasy and fiction related. I've been a huge series lover. So it started with Harry Potter. I love J.K. Rowling. I know there's a lot of Potterheads out there. So it started with that, but then anything that became a series, I just started reading, and it kind of hit a point where a lot of things were ending all at the same time. And I was like so sad. I'm like, what am I going to do? And a friend had looked at me and she's like, well, I don't know, write your own. And it was kind of like a sarcastic comment. And I was like, then I started thinking, I'm like, maybe I should do that. Maybe that would be a good idea. But so I started writing my own series, and I have the first one completed, and it's really basically about this girl named Emma, and there's a lot of like strange things that are happening around her. She's been raised by her uncle since she was 2, and like her and her best friend Dakota are weeks away from graduating, and she's having these very vivid dreams of a place, but her latest dream is of a brother and sister having a conversation about Earth, and like they're clearly not human, and they're doing these, like they're using powers, so to speak. And she wakes up from the dream, and her friend's kind of like, you can't keep ignoring this. And she's like, whatever, we'll figure it out later. Because Emma likes to really deny who she is or what might be going on around her. she really can't deny it anymore when days later she literally runs into the mystery man from her dreams, and that takes them both on a journey of discovering a lot of secrets from both of their past that they didn't know about. And that becomes the premise of going into kind of like almost an intergalactic war that's happening amongst a couple of planets and everything. And I'm working on the second book for that right now, currently on that. Fun thing, we've also done a novella together.
I love our novella.
We did a witchy novella together, which is also very kind of like what would you like souls, like almost like being, it's like a witch novel, but we also kind of do a lot of
soul journeying, past lives,
which
that's
we
the best way to put
yeah,
that.
So we've had fun with that, and a couple short stories in the works right now as well, and obviously poetry. Poetry has kind of been the new therapeutic side to get some of those angsty feelings out.
Yeah, I bet. So I live in Salem, Massachusetts.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. So could you talk more about your witch story? Also, by the way, you probably should contact people in Salem to do a reading, because they adore stories like that, and they pretty much like the month of October here is, I mean, year round, we're very much into that, but especially in October, there are a lot of local authors and other authors who come into the library and a couple other places and read their witch themed novels and stories. So you should keep that in the back of your mind anyway, because you could easily be brought in to do a few different readings here. So tell me a little bit more about your story, please.
Sure. You are speaking to our heart right now.
Yes.
You have no idea. We low-key think we're witches, and you can't change our minds on this one.
Definitely exist.
So our novella is pretty interesting because it was the first time we actually worked on something together.
Yeah.
And being completely different writers, we
It
butted
was a challenge.
heads. It was a challenge. It speaks on every level, though.
See, so the fun thing is, I have a soft spot for romance, and I will put dark things in my writing, but I like a happy ending. Where Jenna's like, I just like those dark endings. Can we? So we're going to find a happy medium here.
I like to leave people with emotions or like a thought. Like, I want somebody to finish a book and be like, wow. And like mull on it for a little bit.
So our main character, Ellie, is 17 in the novel or the novella, and she knows she's a witch. It's kind of like in their town, it's known that this family, everyone suspects them to be witches. They can't prove it. It's just kind of everyone has always kind of steered clear of them overall. Mm-hmm. And she's very resentful of it. She's like the first of her line to be completely resentful of it, because all she's done is get picked on or bullied or targeted at school. And she just
brought problems.
Yes. She just wants to be the normal kid and just kind of keep her head low, get through school, and just kind of get through life. So one of her most recent incidents at school really kind of sets her off when she comes home, and she lives with her Graham, and her best friend is Liam, who is also her boyfriend in the story, and he's always had her back. And after the recent incident of bullying at school, where the principal is like, he kind of just sends her home, and he's trying to kind of sweep it under the rug, which really upsets her. She tells her Graham, that's it, I don't want them anymore, take my powers away. And her Graham, being the very tricky and sly woman that
very quirky lady. Imagine what is the word for it?
She's eccentric.
Yes, eccentric is the good word for this.
But you
character.
kind of love her, because she's fun, and she also kind of forces you to look at things you don't want to look at. So obviously her Graham is a witch as well. And when her Graham makes her believe that she's going to strip her of her powers, but really what her Graham does is sends her to the Summerlands, which is a known place where
it's like a middle ground in witchcraft. It is believed that when you pass, you go to the Summerlands, and before you're reincarnated into your next life. So we kind of did a different spin on it. We use the Summerlands as a medium place for her to go back into different past lives of herself.
Yeah, she meets with basically